Oh my dear God, here we go again. Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have a better tomorrow. So we got some bad news yet again with Rooster Teeth, and let's be real, who really expects the news to be good at this point, considering 2019 has just been a terrible catastrophe for Rooster Teeth? But we have tons of news to cover. But before we get into the news, I just want to say make sure that you are still subscribed because YouTube is unsubscribing people, and some of you have told me about being unsubscribed. So make sure that you are still subscribed. And if you're new here, then please subscribe. We'd love to have you here. It'd be greatly appreciated. And we'd love for you to join us. But, anyways, so let's go ahead and get into everything. So it seems that Rooster Teeth has started firing people. Of course, of all times, it being during the Christmas season, which is the worst time for anybody to be laid off and or fired. Now, I will get to why I say fired in a moment over being laid off for people who were fired with Rooster Teeth recently, but some of you may know who Pat Rodriguez is. Now, Pat Rodriguez, he's the one who has done the character designs for Ruby characters. You know, when you see the art and the credits, that's that guy. So this is what he had to say. I'm sorry I wasn't able to finish it, Monty. Now, there was a few other things that he did. He had his own show on Rooster Teeth First. He had his own show there, interviewing some of the Rooster Teeth staff. So there was that. And he did other things with art in terms of Ruby as well as Camp. And now here he is being fired during the Christmas season of all times of the year, which is the worst time for anybody to be laid off or fired. Now, the reason why I say fired, now let me get into that, is because Chelsea Atkinson, she had to say this. Hey y'all, Rooster Teeth did not lay off anyone today, and we are not going through layoffs currently. We won't comment on individuals' employment statuses, but these are individual decisions and not the result of any layoffs. Please remember to be respectful to those individuals during this time. So, seeing that there's not layoffs going on right now, then this leads to one other conclusion. They're firing people. I mean, how else do you explain this if you're saying that layoffs are not happening? So, for whatever reason, Pat was fired. Now, it's pretty strange when you think about it, especially at this time of the year. And you know how Rooster Teeth, they themselves, they have not gone through a good year. Genlock lost them millions of dollars. If I had to go through a speculation as to why this happened at this time of the year, is because, well, Genlock lost them millions of dollars. They have not recouped half of that they lost. So they're probably cutting people so that they can financially help themselves, so they don't have to give more money out. At least, that's a speculation I have on that. But to see that layoffs are not occurring at this time, this only tells you one thing, that they're firing people. Now, like I said, I don't know the reasoning, but this is not a good thing for Ruby. Now, I bring this up because with the concept artist being gone, well, they're going to have to find someone else to replace him first off. Now, that's going to be something to search for unless they already have somebody in the running, but it's not looking good. Now, of course, Kim Newman, she had something to say about this, and this is what she had to say. There are going to be amazing opportunities out there for you, Pat. You are amazing. Now, Kim, I want to bring her up for a brief moment because I talked about this in a video, is that Kim herself, she recently left Rooster Teeth about a couple of months ago. And, you know, she left to find better opportunities. At least that's how she put it. So, there's that. And there's one other person here, J.J. Castillo. Now, some of you may remember who he is, some of you may not. So, for those of you who don't know, he was the original voice of Mercury Black in Ruby. And this is what J.J. had to say. You and I both know Monty would be proud of you, and know, especially now, that you stuck around and tried your best to hold his best intentions. It's going to suck for a little, but in a year, you'll see this was a blessing. Trust me. Love you, Pat. Now, it's kind of interesting the way he puts this. Now, of course, he left on his own terms back in 2014. But still, it's just interesting seeing that it was a blessing that Pat left. That's interesting. And putting trust me in all caps, makes you kind of question some things. It makes you really kind of wonder. Now, the reason why I brought up JJ Castillo is, for one, he was the original Mercury Black, but two, we haven't seen him in a long time, and so I wanted to throw a shout out to him, and it was nice of him to show concern and to say something nice to Pat. So I just wanted to point that out. Now, here's another person, Tim Leftwich. I think that's how you say his name. He was also fired. And this is what he had to say. I'll say it again for people in the back. Companies don't care about employees. That's why unions used to exist, but we got rid of those. Rooster Teeth has even been protested by the film unions several times before. They don't care. Now, that's a very interesting statement coming from Tim. Now, if you're wondering who Tim is, let me explain what he did. So, Tim Leftwich, this was what his job was when he was a part of Rooster Teeth. He was a prop and costume designer and production assistant on various live action and animation works. So, that was his job. And he continues to say, and why should they? Every time there is any incident at the company, it gets ignored and swept under the rug until the fan base just moves on. And that is true. Okay, so one thing I want to bring up is any time that there is a big issue with Rooster Teeth, the denialists, fanatics, whatever you want to call them, they tend to just sweep it under the rug, as he states here, and just act like it never happened. Act like Rooster Teeth's just perfect, that they never did anything wrong, and that if you say anything against Rooster Teeth, then, oh man, you are a terrible person. There have been so many times that I could tell you right now that there have been so many denialists that have come after me because I have shared the news on Rooster Teeth and the things that they have done. And no matter what, they protect Rooster Teeth. They try to defend them, and they say, oh, well, no, you're wrong. You're terrible. You're a horrible person. Or that I'm trying to ruin the reputation. Rooster Teeth is ruining their own reputation. It wouldn't have to be someone like myself or anyone else like that to do that. They're doing it themselves, and I'm just getting the news out here. That's all I'm doing. I'm getting the news out here because it is important things for people to know. And they will continue to blindly follow Rooster Teeth no matter which way you look at it. And Tim right here has a very good point. That's their entire MO when it comes to situations like this. Have a nice cold pint. Wait for this whole thing to blow over. And that's basically how Rooster Teeth sees it. They just expect you to get over it, act like they were never bad, that this terrible thing never happened. They just expect it to be just transparent, and they expect to lie to your face so that you'll think that there's nothing really wrong, when in reality, there's a lot wrong here. And Rooster Teeth doesn't want to take responsibility for the things that they do, and they just try to hide it. I mean, it's ridiculous. And then, of course, we have another person here who was Sean Murphy. And this is what Sean Murphy had to say. Just got laid off. Merry Christmas, y'all. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, another person that's gone. Now, who was Sean Murphy, you're probably asking? Well, Sean Murphy, he was actually an animation producer for Ruby, Camp Camp, Red vs. Blue, Ruby Chibi, and even Genlock, and he has 25 years of experience in the video game industry. And now, his tweets here, this is what he had to say, that he's been in the workplace for almost 35 years, and that he knows the difference between fired and laid off is. And this is just hard for many people this time of the year, and for Rooster Teeth to just be cutting off people just so suddenly. I mean, you would think, well, with all the layoffs that's been going on, say if you excluded those, right? Okay, so we're just going to say you were to cut those out, say they never happened. What if scenario, basically. If you were to say those things never happened, well, you wouldn't really think much of these, people getting fired. I mean, yeah, you'd feel bad for them because it's the Christmas season, they're losing their job, and I wouldn't want anyone to lose their job. I mean, that's a terrible thing for many people when that happens. But, this is just odd timing. This is a very strange time for this to be going on. And obviously there's a lot going on behind the scenes that many people either A, just don't know about, or B, they know, they just don't want to accept it. They don't want to admit to it. And, when it comes to fans, some of them just are in denial, and they will blindly follow Rooster Teeth. I want to give you an example here. So, some of you may remember Lo Zelda. Some of you may remember her, and this is what she had to say. So she left all the way back in April, so it's been a while since she's been gone, but this is what she had to say in a tweet yesterday. I said it before and I'll say it again. If you're a fan and you're surprised, you aren't paying attention. which she's got a very good point here because there are so many people that will just deny anything that's going on with Rooster Teeth. They will sit over here and they will just try to defend them to the ends of the earth, saying that there are no issues going on behind the scenes when there are multiple problems. And another thing she had to say, this was very interesting as well. And for those still trying to make excuses, the people voluntarily leaving should also be a big old red flag. Now, I said that as well. If you remember a couple months ago, whenever I was talking about 4 other big names leaving the company, and I said, you should know that this is not a good sign, that's because I've been told by some insiders that there are some things going on that many people don't know behind the scenes that are very awful. It has been going on for years. It's not like this is something brand new. This has been going on for a long time, in fact. Things that I have been aware of, and these are just some very terrible things. Some things that I can't even mention. The one thing I can at least say is the animator issue, which I've talked about that multiple times. That's been going on for years. And, that's one thing to give you a clue of terrible things that are going on behind the scenes at Rooster Teeth that they don't want you to know. Like how Matt Holm and Bernie Burns are transparent about their actual demotions when they try to make it out as, oh yes, we're just stepping down. No, they were demoted. That's never a good sign. And then, of course, Carrie had to try to create damage control during RTX this year about the animator issue because they all knew that somebody was going to ask about it. Yeah, that's why they did that, because they knew somebody was going to ask about it and they didn't want to have to talk about it. And it's still going on. That hasn't changed, and it's just terrible. The working conditions at Rooster Teeth, it's awful, actually. This is what Jen had to continue to say. Whoops, hi Reddit. Yes, we vague tweet. You've seen how the fan base can get. All direct honesty gets us in attacks and demands for proof that will never be good enough, and frankly, we're exhausted. You don't have to like it. We don't do it for you. It's our own catharsis. And you see, here's the thing. For Jen, when she was working at Rooster Teeth, she had such emotional issues that she had to start taking medication because of the work environment she was under. That's why when she talked about when she left, she was talking about her depression and how bad it had gotten because her work environment was just awful. Here's another tweet that I want you all to know of the importance of it. The realization drawing on people in response to this tweet of why I quit in April is impressive. That tells you something. This is why she quit in April, because of the working environments being so stressful for her. And how does this sound familiar? Just like what's going on with the animators that have been going on for several years now, and it hasn't changed. It's still the same for the animators. They are still not being treated right. And for their working conditions, their working environment, it's like a sweatshop. It's not good, it's not healthy, and they're still being treated awful as well, and it's just unfair. It's terrible how they're being abused and how they're being treated. And then, of course, you have other workers all around here. How much more evidence do these people that just deny all this stuff, how much more do they literally need to understand that Rooster Teeth is falling apart, that Rooster Teeth is not who they used to be when they started out before they were even a big company? I mean, how do they not get this through their heads? There are serious things going on, and then with all these people getting fired at this time, it leaves you to question some things. I mean, especially with them trying to say that, oh, there's no layoffs going on right now, and then people are just being removed from the company. Especially at a time like this, especially with all the layoffs that have actually happened previously this year, especially with all the terrible events that have gone on, all the people that have left the company, this would lead anyone to question, well, what's actually going on right now? Because this would make you think that with all these things happening simultaneously, there's got to be something going on. And there is. And Rooster Teeth, of course, they're going to hide it as much as possible. But with these things continuing to go on, with all the terrible decisions they keep making, all the terrible things that they keep doing, it's going to be lucky for them if they even last a year with the whole issue with HBO Max, with their financial issues due to Genlock. I mean, Rooster Teeth is running their own reputation into the mud. It's on them. And with all these things that are going on now, it leaves you to continue to think, well, this ain't looking too good. And it's not. And Rooster Teeth is in a lot more trouble than people realize. But the thing is, I feel bad for the people who lost their jobs because this is such a hard time of the year, and my heart goes out to each and every one of them, and that I hope that you are able to find something for yourself very soon, because this is a hard time of the year to lose your job, and my heart goes out to you, and I hope the best of luck to all of you. But anyways, let me know what you think about this entire situation down below, and share the video. Let's try to spread the word and get it out there. It's greatly appreciated. It really helps the channel out a lot. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did enjoy, hit the video with a like. Subscribe if you're new here, and follow me on Discord. The link is in the description down below. But anyways, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today. And remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow could always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you, and have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.